Welcome back, class. Today I'm really excited because we're finally moving past some of the pre-algebra stuff we've been focusing on, and we're moving into some real algebra. I'm really excited. Today we're going to be solving equations. Before we get too deep into solving equations, what we need to do is first talk about some vocabulary so that we're all on the same terms and we all know what we're talking about. So the first term that I want to talk about is the word variable. And variable is a letter or symbol which represents an unknown value. Okay, so that's what we're going to be trying to figure out, is what is the value of that variable. Okay, we're going to try and take it from an unknown value to a known value. The next term that I want to talk about is the term coefficient. And coefficient is a number which is being multiplied times a variable. Okay, so if you look down below here, this 3 is being multiplied times x. X is the variable, it's unknown. The 3 is the coefficient, it's being multiplied times x, the variable. The last term that I want to talk about is the term constant. And a constant is a number which is being added to a variable. Okay, so a coefficient is being multiplied, a constant is being added. So in this case down here, the 4 would be my constant. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and label all these things in this equation. And this is important because pretty soon here I'm going to be telling you to divide by the coefficient and subtract the constant, and you got to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the coefficient. I can spell. That's the number that's being multiplied times the variable. The x here is the variable. It's the letter or the symbol that represents an unknown value. And finally, the 4 is the constant. It's the number that's being added to the variable. All right, this fly is going to make me mad today. Okay, so those are important terms that you need to know before we start solving equations. Let's move on to talk about what equations are and how to solve them. Alright, here we go. An equation is a mathematical sentence that is balanced on each side of the equal sign. The left side is always equal to the right side. That's why there's an equal sign in between, to show that they're in balance. Okay, so an equation is just a mathematical sentence that's equal on both sides of the equal sign. Balanced on both sides of the equal sign. Okay, so the next question then is, how do we solve an equation? Because that's what we're going to be doing today. We've got to know how to solve an equation. The way that we're going to solve an equation is we are going to remove all coefficients and constants so that the variable is alone all by itself on one side of the equation. Okay, so we need to get rid of all the constants, all the coefficients, so that we can get the variable all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So how exactly do we get it all by itself? Well, we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide an equation as long as whatever we do to one side of the equation, we also do to the other side of the equation. If you think of it as a teeters, what do you call that? A seesaw? Okay, a seesaw on the playground. If you have one child on one side of the seesaw and one child on the other side and they're balanced, then that's good. If you're going to add something to this side of the seesaw, you also need to add something to this side of the seesaw to keep it balanced. Okay, so if you add to one side, you need to add to the other side. And the same thing with equations. If you add to one side of the equal sign, you also need to add to the other side of the equal sign. Fly, I'll get you. So let's look at a couple of examples to see how it works in action. Okay, here we go. I have 3 examples here. The first one is x minus 8 equals 2. There's an equal sign. Okay, so that means this side of the equation has to be equal to this side of the equation. They have to be the same. They have to have the same value. Okay, and I can change this side of the equation as long as I also do the same thing to this side of the equation. Okay, remember the way that we solve equations is we get rid of all constants and coefficients. Okay, right here there's no coefficient. Well, there is, but it's just a 1 because 1 times x is just x. So we're going to leave that. Okay, we're going to consider that no coefficient. but there is a constant. There is a negative x, here, or a negative 8, I'm sorry, negative 8. Okay, so we need to get rid of that negative 8. The way that you cancel out a negative 8 is you add 8. Okay, because negative 8 plus 8 equals 0, they cancel each other out. Okay, and whenever I'm solving equations, it really, really helps me if I just kind of draw a line down the equal sign. Okay, because that helps me remember that whatever I did to this side, I also need to do to this side. So if I added 8 to this side of the equation, I also need to add 8 to this side. There we go, that makes sense. Alright, so over here, negative 8 plus 8 equals 0, and x plus 0 is just x. So I'm just left with x over on this side. I still have my equal sign in the middle. And over on the right side here, I have 2 plus 8. Well, 2 plus 8 is 10. So this is how I solve an equation. I found out that x, it's all by itself now, no constants, no coefficients, x equals 10. Okay, there's a really quick way to check and make sure you have the right answer. What you do is you take that 10 and you plug it back into the original equation. Okay, so instead of x, I'm going to put a 10 up there. 10 minus 8 equals 2. Well, that is true. 10 minus 8 does equal 2. So I'm on the right track. This is the correct answer. X equals 10. Okay, I found the value of that unknown. Let's try another example. This time I've got y plus 3 equals 7. Y plus 3 equals 7. I'm going to draw this line down my equal sign again. Okay, this time I have a plus 3. And I want to cancel out that plus 3. So I need to do the opposite of plus 3. And because I'm such a smart mathlete, I know that the opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. I also know that if I do minus 3 to one side, I also need to do minus 3 to the other side. Right? Good. So 3 minus 3 is 0. That gets rid of that constant. It's gone now. It turned into a 0, so I'm just left with y on that side. I still have my equal sign in the middle. And then 7 take away 3 is 4. And I get my answer, y equals 4. Again, it's a great idea to just take that 4. It doesn't take very long. Take that 4, plug it in for y. So I have 4 plus 3 equals 7. Well, in fact, 4 plus 3 does equal 7, so that's the correct answer. I'm on the right track. Okay, y equals 4. Last example here. Down here I have 6 plus z equals 4. This one looks a little different because they're switched. Okay, on the other examples my variable came first. This time my variable comes second. But that doesn't change anything. Okay, that doesn't change anything. I still have a positive 6 out here. And I need to get rid of that positive 6. So the way that I get rid of positive 6 is I do the opposite of positive 6. And the opposite of positive 6 would be negative 6. I need to subtract 6. Okay, I want this thing to equal 0. So the way that I get 6 to equal 0 is I take away 6. Okay? So I'm going to take away 6 from the left side over here. If I take away 6 from the left side, I also need to take away 6 from the right side. On the left side, 6 take away 6 is 0, and 0 plus z is just z, so I'm going to leave my z over here. Those cancel out. I still have my equal sign, and then I have 4 take away 6. 4 minus 6. Okay, you have to carry your paint bucket with you. Remember, you got to carry your paint bucket. I've got a positive 4 and a negative 6. They have different signs, so I need to subtract them. 6 minus 4 is 2. And then I need to keep the sign of the biggest number. Well, the 6 is the biggest number, so I keep that negative. And my answer would be negative 2. Z equals negative 2. Okay? The way that I check to make sure I have the right answer is I take that negative 2 and I plug it back in for the z. So now I have 6 plus a negative 2 equals 4. And 6 plus a negative 2 does in fact equal 4. So that is the correct answer. Z does equal negative 2. Okay, so I hope those examples help you. There are 4 more problems for you to try on your own in the notes, so please try those 4 examples. We will talk about those in class, but please give them a try on your own so that you can see how you do. If you can do those 4 examples, then you're in good shape. You'll do perfectly fine on the quiz that's coming up. So try those 4 examples. In the meantime, I hope this helped, and I hope it comes easy to you.